Today on the channel, we're back at it with another Kyle Peterson top 5. And in today's video, we're counting down my top 5 Tatanka figures of all time.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition where every Thursday on the channel we're counting down my top 5 and occasionally top 10 favorites of something. And today we're diving into the Native American Tatanka. Tatanka, an all-timer, of course, in the WWE, WWF back in the day, and a guy that's had a lot of figures, but at the same time, not a lot of figures. I think most wrestling fans, even with casual fandom, remember Tatanka from the 90s, and a lot of us like Tatanka, of course, and he had that big undefeated streak like a young Goldberg before Goldberg was even a thing. So Tatanka, definitely a guy that's been around, definitely a guy everybody does know, and a guy still getting figures to this day. Not too long ago, I guess it's been a while at this point, he did get a Legends figure. We got 2 Mattel figures. We got a few figures, but like I said earlier, not as many figures as you would imagine from a guy like Tatanka, but he's still getting figures as Asylum Toys is coming out, and they're up for pre-order as I'm filming this video right now. He is in Series 2, so if you want some of that, check out Asylum Toys out there. There's a brand new Tatanka figure, and I really like what they're doing with that figure, as it's a different figure than our usual Tatankas we usually get. So it does feel a little different, does feel a little bit fresh, there's no doubt about it. And if he is still a part of Mattel, have to think there's going to be some more figures, maybe the Superstars line, possibly another retro figure in the possibilities. That could always happen down the line as well. And Tatanka himself even mentioned, oh, they're making an Ultimate Edition of me. So who knows, maybe a Tatanka Ultimate's in the works down the line. He said that, gosh, 6 months ago. What is time, as we always do say here on the channel. But we'll see what happens. But of course, we're going to do this like we do all the other top 5, top 10 lists. We're going to start at the end, and we're going to work our way to the number 1 position, number 1 being my favorite. And remember, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below. So without further ado, let's get after it. Let's count it down, the top 5 Tatanka figures of all time. Countdown off at number 5, and we go to possibly the deepest cut Tatanka figure he's ever had. And this is an interesting one because we're going back to the Jax days. We're going to the Ruthless Aggression days. We're going to Ruthless Aggression Series 23 Tatanka. Now, this is Tatanka at definitely a different time in his career. This is when he came back to the WWE, and it's crazy. It wasn't a ton of years since he had left, but it felt like a lifetime in a lot of ways, and he was back on TV. I think he was back in the Royal Rumble that year as well. I think he even teamed up with Matt Hardy. Did him and Matt Hardy win the tag titles? Maybe I'm dreaming that, but I think they even teamed up maybe on SmackDown or something like that as well. So Tatanka back in the mix, and he got a figure this time from Jax, like I said, in the traditional Ruthless Aggression line in Series 23 here. And this Tatanka, very interesting because Tatanka has a couple of looks when you close your eyes, and I do many a night before I go to bed and I think of Tatanka, and I say, okay, what is Tatanka's main look? This is definitely far from it. He also has that one where he had kind of the white face paint over the eyes. That's, I believe, what the Asylum is doing in that upcoming figure. This one definitely feels different, but man, I am definitely here for this. They did give him a bow and arrow as an accessory. I don't know if that's a little bit stereotypical at this point. I don't know if that really works in a lot of ways, but and I don't remember him ever with a bow and arrow, but it is very cool. It's like a real working bow and arrow, which give Jack some credit points for that one. There's no doubt about it. But they did give him his loincloth. Now, it's not an Eternia loincloth, one of our favorites, of course, in the fashion world, but it is kind of a pleathery one here with kind of a rubber band around it. Does look very, very nice. Definitely different colors on this Tatanka than we usually get. And then he's got a little bit of ribbon of face paint there underneath his eyes, which you guys know me, I'm a sucker for a guy in face paint. No doubt about it. And he's also got a mullet you can set your watch to. No doubt about it, a mullet you can set your watch to. And a good Tatanka. I think if somebody handed me this head, I would definitely know who this is. And I know Jax gets beat up in a lot of times. Never on this channel. Never on this channel. But they do get beat up from time to time. But I do feel this is a very good version of Tatanka. And that's why he came in the list at number 5. So there it is. Tatanka, Ruthless Aggression, Series 23. The number 4 selection in my top 5 list, I believe, is the latest Tatanka released as of filming right now. This one does come from Mattel. This does go to the Elite Legends line, the Target exclusive line, as we go to Legends Series 9 for old Tatanka right here. How about this one? Now, this is a bit of an upgrade of his prior Mattel Elite, as we do get the pinless joints on the arms up here up top, but it is a ton of reuse all the way down to the accessories, just a fresh coat of paint, as one may say, even using the same head sculpt from the past. But once again, like that last Tatanka, I think more people remember this gear than that one, but this still feels like a deep cut Tatanka gear to me. But I am thankful we did get this. And we got the everyday Tatanka everybody closes their eyes and thinks of in the Elite line, and then we got a little bit of a deeper cut later on. And man, I'm here for that. Variety, the spice of life, as people do say. And I'm sure Tatanka would agree on that one here. But a very cool rendition of Tatanka, something a little different, and that's why it comes in at number 4 in my top 5 list. Whoa, we're halfway there, is what Bon Jovi told little Kyle way back in the day. But then he tried to lay me down on a bed of roses and told me, Kyle, you're wanted, dead or alive. And how this got into a Bon Jovi thing, I'll never know, because not a Bon Jovi guy, not a Bon Jovi guy. But I am a number 3 guy. Sure, makes sense. Why not? But we're at the number 3 spot here in the top 5 Tatanka countdown, right in the middle of the pack. Do you got your list together? Make sure you put it in the comments down below. And number 3 for me could surprise some people. I gotta think a lot of you guys and gals out there, this will be your number 1 Tatanka figure of all time. But for me, coming in at number 3, what is it? WWE Mattel Elite Series 47A? What are we doing back then? It was a confusing time. We were very confused. But this is Tatanka. This is the Tatanka you close your eyes and you think about as far as being on TV, things like that. The reds, the blues, the browns, the tomahawk, the red stripe there. Like a young red rooster in some ways. Of course, the mullet, the necklace, the loincloth. Sure, it's a loincloth. Just looking good here. This is a fabulous, fabulous version of Tatanka, and I couldn't doubt anybody because it's your list. Your list is right. You always got to remember that. This could be number 1 for a lot of people, and you couldn't really argue that point. But for me, it is number 3. The first Mattel Elite Tatanka figure, and to me, the best Mattel Elite Tatanka figure as of filming this video. We'll see what happens in the future. But just an all-timer, a very cool one. Always fun to get him, and he was a classic guy at the time, even more of a classic guy now. But definitely a cool-looking figure, and that's why it comes in at number 3 in the top 5 Tatanka list. Getting down to the end, we're at the number 2 Tatanka figure of all time, and this one is a figure that is way better than I ever imagined it would be. Of course, you guys know every single Tuesday on this very YouTube channel, man, subscribe, what are you waiting for? We do a Jakks Classic Superstars video. And when I finally got around to unboxing this Tatanka figure, I realized how great this figure is. And what is it? Well, it is Jakks Classic Superstars. It is Series 19 Tatanka. An absolutely awesome, awesome figure here. And this is one that never got its flowers. I'll give it all the flowers. This is one that didn't get its flowers back in the day because Tatanka felt classic at the time, kind of like that Ruthless Aggression at number 5. It felt classic, but not really, really classic, but was more classic than maybe Chris Jericho at the time. We'll put it that way. But definitely a cool figure in pack, but just one of those ones that's just kind of there. But I talked about those Tuesday Jakks Classic videos, which right now, if you're a member of the Patreon, we're about 2 years ahead on those videos. So you got about 2 years of content there, and I do put those out every single Tuesday. So guessing the Tatanka unboxing, maybe it's not out yet. Who knows? You'll have to check. You'll have to check. But this Tatanka, when I got it out of the package, I couldn't believe how much I actually liked this figure. And I knew it was going to be okay. It's Tatanka after all. But this is really, really good. And most people say the Mattel is better. And that's probably people liking the articulation, the updated, I get all that kind of stuff. But for what this is, standing on a shelf, I really do enjoy this Tatanka. Once again, you get the little stereotypical bow and arrow going on. But you got the beautiful head sculpt on this Tatanka. And Jakks had some of the best head sculpts ever. And they hold up to this day. There is no doubt about it. Love the red at the top. And then once again, that mullet, man. You can just set that watch to it if you need to. You got a beautiful loincloth, kind of pleather feeling there. The classic blue tights going on. You get the fringed boots there as well. Just an all-timer looking Tatanka figure. I mean, this really, really looks like Tatanka and is easily one of the best Tatanka figures of all time. That's why it's at number 2 for me. And it was even close to the number 1 spot. It really just came down to one thing, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But man, you can't do wrong with Classic Superstars Series 19 Tatanka. So this is number 2. That leaves number 1. What's number 1? Well, stay tuned. Here we are. We're at the number 1 Tatanka figure of all time. Make sure you get your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this very YouTube channel, as we got top 5, top 10 lists every single Thursday, on top of everything else under the sun, as you guys probably know by now. But we're at the number 1 spot, and really no question for me, this started off at number 1 for me and ended there. And there was a brief minute where that Classic Superstars was going to take the number 1 spot, but I went with this one. And we always know these figures go sentimental reasons, nostalgic reasons, playability reasons, definite version reasons. There's many things that come into these top 5 lists, and basically how I'm feeling at one point. As I always say, I start with the list, I move it around, wait a couple of days, finally get to it. You know, ask me a year later, things might have changed, especially with new figures being added to the mix. But as of right now, as of this video here, the number 1 spot is going to Hasbro Tatanka Series 6, Series 9, Series 6. That's what we're going to go, because I only owned the Series 6 one when I was a kid. I remember Series 9 coming out and saying, well, I already have that figure. I'm going to get one of the other figures, because you're a kid. You only got so much money. Don't need 2 Tatankas, but I did need some of the other players out there, some of the new characters, and that's exactly what I ended up getting here. A lot of people thought Series 9 Tatanka was put there in place of, I believe it was Brutus Beefcake, and he never came out with a different repaint going on, so they just re-released Tatanka. But this Tatanka was a pretty good one back in the day. Who are we fooling? Still a good one here today as far as Hasbro's go. But anytime you got a main player into your Fig Fed in your playing days, man, it was a great day to be alive. There's no doubt about it. And I still remember the day going to the Target. It was my local Target, a very small Target at the time, back before Super Targets were a thing. And I remember picking up this Tatanka there. It was a Friday night. I believe I had pizza. It was just a perfect time for a little kid. But I remember bringing this one in, and he was right into the Intercontinental Chase against Mr. Perfect day 1 there. And that's really the Hasbro's LJNs, of course, of my generation of playing, being a kid. Man, they're very nostalgic for me. So they always get close to the top spot, and like in this instance, end up taking the top spot. There's no doubt about it here. But is it the greatest Tatanka as far as, you know, looks and playability and articulation? Absolutely not, but nostalgia wins in this case. I mean, it definitely looks like Tatanka. He's got the colors of Tatanka. He's got the Texas Tornado Tatanka action, which is always fun. Oh boy, look at that one there. You do double clotheslines, all kinds of different stuff with Tatanka in this one. Just a really, really fun figure, especially for the time and when it was released. And who are we fooling once again? All these years later, right here, this Tatanka wins the number 1 spot in my heart, and possibly a lot of you guys and gals as well. And speaking of that, put your list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the old notification bells. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content, including early access to videos like this, over on the Patreon channel. Of course, Patreon, your best way to support this very YouTube channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram and on Threads. So for the top 5 Tatanka figures of all time, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.